Today, we make Vladimir Putin regret the day he questioned America's resolve. And we make clear to others, like China's President Xi, not to test our determination.
Yeah, I don't think that, I think that's such an inflated, really scenario that Schumer and other people, part of War Inc., like to present. Welcome back to the program. Dana Loesch here with you, bottom of this second hour. We're still waiting for the president to come out and speak, and he's going to put pressure on this Ukraine supplemental bill, this bill that gives, it's a $95 billion bill, all-night session, $61 billion for Ukraine, and it also provides $9.1 billion to Gaza and the West Bank. Our taxpayer dollars that we're sending to places that voted for terrorists as their government. Now, here's my question. Why are we giving aid to an entity that is represented by Hamas? And don't tell me that West Bank isn't represented by Hamas. It basically is. Fatah is has lost so much influence in that area. That's why they suspended elections, because Hamas is going to take over. There are people who are like, no, Hamas doesn't run West Bank, but de facto they do. And that was back in 2006. And even after everything, I mean, just 8 months ago, a poll came out showing that they still enjoyed overwhelming popularity. And there were a lot of people surveyed even after October 7th who thought Hamas, that they were resisting occupation, and that's why they did it. They didn't look at Hamas as the aggressors. You're talking about an area where for a generation, people have been brought up to believe that Israel is the devil, the U.S. is the devil, et cetera, et cetera. And Hamas has it, it's literally in their charter verbatim that Israel is not to be recognized. It doesn't have a right to exist, which is why you can never have a two-state solution. That was one of the big divides between Hamas and Fatah, because Fatah at least recognized Israel's right to exist and recognized Israeli sovereignty, and Hamas absolutely refused. So when you have all these countries demand that the United States or others recognize Palestine, which is a fictional country that's never existed and is not recognized either in the Bible or in the Quran or in the 1,000, 2,000, whatever years of antiquity. And it was literally a spiteful name given by Hadrian to the land after the Second Judean Uprising, named after the Philistines, which were, a seafaring people from Crete that had nothing to do with that. The long story short is it's an entirely made up fictional country. It has no more ever been in existence than Bruce Jenner is a woman simply by changing his name and tucking. It's just not, that's not how it works. So why are all of these other, and Saudi Arabia has even added pressure onto this. They think that the United States should recognize, quote unquote, Palestine as a country. I don't think that we should recognize I don't think Palestine should be recognized as a country. Not at all. In fact, I think everyone there needs to leave and go to either Jordan or Saudi Arabia or any of the other Arab League nations, and Israel should just take it back over. Because clearly when they uprooted everything and unilaterally withdrew and gave everything in that area, including water filtration, manufacturing, entire greenhouses, everything to the officials that were running the Gaza Strip, that area, they didn't do anything with it. And in fact, they destroyed it so that they could make bombs and then have their people live with unreliable electricity, et cetera, et cetera. So clearly it hasn't worked. And no one knows anything any more than, and they've already done everything that they could possibly do. It's asinine to demand that the United States recognize an entity that has not proven that it is capable of even governing itself and recognizing it as a sovereign entity when it's in their elected official terrorist party's charter that they won't recognize our singular ally over there as a sovereign entity. So, no. Why are we sending almost $10 billion in quote-unquote humanitarian assistance that's not going to go to humanitarian assistance and it's just going to make more tunnels for Hamas? I didn't consent to having my tax dollars go to terrorists and people who vote for terrorists. And if you vote for a terrorist, guess what? You're a terrorist. If you are a people voting for terrorists to represent you, you're a damn terrorist. The end. Stop with this walking on eggshells to describe this strip. It is what it is. We didn't make that choice, but people sure as hell went out and voted. And there's another thing, too. When you have these children that have been released and they are taken back to Israel and they talk about how they've been held captive in a number of people's homes, that doesn't sound like Hamas. That sounds like regular, average, everyday people helping Hamas. You know that there was an Al Jazeera journalist that was discovered to have actually been like a prominent military leader in Hamas who was masquerading as a bipartisan journalist or as an objective journalist. Do you realize how many regular average Gazan citizens were helping Hamas that day? I'm not even going to entertain this idea. I'm not playing this stupid rhetorical game. I'm tired of the games, whether it's for trans issues or this. It's colonialism by Hamas that failed. Now, that being said, this $10 billion, there's no reason why we should be spending $10 billion on this. There's no reason why we should be spending any money anywhere to any foreign entity, ally or not, without the securing of the southern border. So all of that money, and they were going to give $4 billion to the Indo-Pacific to deter aggression by China. Oh, that's just a pittance. Yes, only in Washington do you say $4 billion is a pittance, but it is. And so this is just complete dysfunction. Mitch McConnell, I think, he's a great parliamentarian, but I think he's losing it. Problem is, who takes over after Mitch McConnell? That's the problem. And he apparently thinks, Graham said he would, Lindsey Graham had said that he would have blocked a bill unless he got an agreement on some sort of amendment on border security. So they put a pittance in there. They put, that was it. Not barely an acknowledgement. This is just ridiculous. $60 billion here, $60 billion there. I mean, you're looking at $95 billion. And 22 Republicans that supported it. So when Biden speaks, he's apparently going to put, this is going to be to put pressure on this, to get this to happen. They're going to put pressure on. They're going to try to get the House to bend. And the House cannot bend. They have to hold the line.